Guys, so this is part 4 for the Canidae Diamond Painting Event 2025, and of course I'm late. I figured y'all would expect me to be late by now. I was gonna do it yesterday, and then I was like, and then I was gonna do it today. I was supposed to go to a movie with Sabsy, and then her phone stopped working. So, what are you doing, Lemon? You got your bear? Okay. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this by the end of the month if I really work on it. I still need to get my diamond painting kitted up for Wendy's Please Don't Desert Me event. It's just a small section. I'm probably still going to go to the movies today, but I might just take my mom. Okay. I think we left off on Honey, but I didn't rewatch everything that I said. So if I repeat some stuff, I apologize. And my voice is a little bit hoarse because I just got done arguing with the entire pack of dogs. I mean, oh my goodness. It's a good thing June was born in this, decade because, I guess technically last decade, because she is such a sass mouther. She sass mouths me all the time, and then that gets Calliope going, and then I just have a whole pack of dogs that are over here sass mouthing me. Okay, I think I talked about Honey Lemon's acid reflux disease, which she has a new appointment with the vet because she's been grinding her teeth and swallowing a lot lately, which she hasn't done today, which is hilarious because I just made the appointments yesterday. You know, whenever you need them to show their symptoms, they're never on the ready to show what they're experiencing. It's like, oh, my dog's in pain. Well, how do you know? Well, it's limping. And they're like, no, it's not. And it's like, yes, she was just limping, I swear. And then Biscuit Breath has a tumor growing next to her titties, next to one of her nippies. And it's shaped like a kidney bean, and her skin is normal, and it's firmer than a fat tumor it normally is, but it's not attached to the muscle wall and not attached to, and doesn't look angry. So I'm thinking it may just be a benign tumor. I've had a lot of dogs, so I've seen a lot of tumors. I'm pretty good at knowing what needs to be looked at and what doesn't need to be looked at. My desk is a mess. I don't know where my tweezers are, of course. If I can just... What I don't like about this putty is that when it gets stuck to the glue, it is very hard to get it off without smearing it everywhere. So yeah, I talked about her acid reflux disease, and sorry, my brain wanders. She's really a funny dog. I've noticed that she's like, it's gonna sound, I don't know if I'm gonna make any sense, but I'm gonna try and make sense. I definitely think she had some deficiencies when she was growing up as a puppy. It's hard to explain, but like she'll come up to me, and I'll reach down and I pet her, and that's fine, okay. But if she comes up and she gets in the recliner next to me, right, and she's laying down, she's asleep. She usually sleeps with her tongue out. I don't know why. I can wake her up by playing with her tongue, and she'll move her head, but she doesn't suck her tongue back in. She likes to sleep with her tongue out. So she'll get up on the recliner and she'll fall asleep, and I instinctively reach over to pet my dogs. I don't know why. Maybe it's something that has to do with Chewy. You know, Chewy was always right there, and that was one of the hard things about losing him, is that I instinctively reach over to touch my dogs, you know, and one day he just wasn't there. So when she's in the recliner, you know, I instinctively, without even thinking about it, reach over to touch her, you know, and I could just have my hand sitting on her. I could be, you know, petting a small area of her leg, you know, and when she finally wakes up to my touch, she gets so uncomfortable, and you can see it, like she starts squirming. And then if I keep touching her, she eventually gets off the recliner and moves away. Like, I can just have my fingers on her foot and be watching a video or doing something, and when she realizes I'm touching her, she has to move away. And it's not, I don't think it's a fear thing. I just think that maybe, and I hate speculating because there's no point to it. There's no point in making up this elaborate story in your head, but um, I think she just didn't get a lot of touch when she was younger. You know, where her spatial bubble is so much bigger than any other dog's. You know, I can reach over and you know, aggressively start scratching, you know, Dottie's back when she's sleeping. You know, it doesn't bother her, but just a simple touch. And it's not the same when she's on her feet walking around. You know, I can touch her, but she won't stand still for me to touch her. You know, she won't stand there to get rubs. The only time she will stand in place to get rubs is if I'm scratching her booble area. She likes her booble scratched, but besides that, she is not a dog that can stand still for touch. So, like I said, I don't think it's a fear thing. I think just maybe lack of touch perhaps made it so she needs a much bigger birth around her than an average dog. I think that's about it. I mean, Honey Lemon's such a good dog. She's such a good dog. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to Calliope. She's the last rescue dog in this particular pack. I have 6 dogs, but 2 of them one of them my mom purchased, and let's see. Did I go through 5 dogs or 4 dogs? I talked about Dottie. I talked about Ruby. Talked about June. Talked about Honey Lemon. Okay, so I guess Rosie was the only purchase. My mom's got a bad habit about purchasing dogs, and I hate it. I hate it so much. So I guess, yes, let's talk about Calliope. After I got Honey Lemon, you know, Honey Lemon was my big dog. Dottie's my big dog, but Dottie lives with Grandma most of the time, so it doesn't feel like I have a big dog here. You know, so I got Honey Lemon. She's quote unquote my big dog, even though she's not. She's only like 45 pounds. You know, she's not. She may even weigh less than that. She probably weighs 45. I don't know. We'll say 40. We'll just say 40. So she's kind of like, she could be a large medium or a small large. Okay, so you know, I thought that was it. You know, I was not looking for another dog. I was on Craigslist because I had purchased Constantine, my fish, and he was an unexpected purchase. I haven't been in the fish hobby for over a decade, you know, so a lot of the supplies I needed, I didn't have. And so, you know, I was using my mom's 3-gallon tank, which in my opinion is not big enough for a betta fish, but that's my own opinion. I think you should at least, you know, do like 5 gallons. For me, bare minimum would be 10 gallons for a betta fish because they are really active. But so I needed to get some supplies for Constantine. And back in the day when I was really into fish keeping, there was a lot of buying, selling, trading happening on Craigslist. Like, it was not hard to find used aquarium supplies. It's very hard nowadays. I don't know what happened to Craigslist, but the market on there has not been what it used to be. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know. So, I have been periodically getting on to Craigslist to look at aquarium supplies. And I was scrolling through all the ads. Did I have a job? Yeah, I had a job when I got Constantine. That was the... had a job when I got Constantine, damn it. Okay, so, you know, but obviously buying brand new aquarium keeping supplies is very expensive. And so I was like, if I can just get the basics, like I can buy a brand new heater, I can buy a new hood and lights if I have to, but I'd rather get at least the lights free. I think I have enough filters here, and I need to buy sand. And I prefer using black sand. Don't ask me why. It's just what I've always used. Um, so I was on Craigslist. You know, I had filtered out like aquarium fish keeping supplies. Looked through every single ad. I kept looking through ads. But occasionally I just not filter the pet listings. You know, and I just look at all the the titles of all the listings, because sometimes people use words that you did not put in the filter to filter out what you're looking for. And so I was looking through, honest to goodness, looking through all the ads for aquarium keeping supplies or fish supplies or fish stuff. I don't know. And I ran across an ad that was posted by the Humane Society of Tacoma that they were overloaded with animals. And I was thinking to myself as I looked at the title of the ad, I'm like, that's odd, you know, because every time I go to the damn Humane Society, that place is empty. Like, they'll have like one, maybe 2 rows of dogs, but most of the dog kennels are empty. And it's like, why is it that when I'm not looking for a dog, when I have enough dogs, that they are overcrowded? And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on Pet Finder and I'm gonna look at their their page, if you will, for available dogs. And sorry, I'm just looking for any more H's. And I'm flipping through their pages, and I'm flipping through their pages, you know, I was like, oh, that dog's cute, oh, that dog's cute. Honestly, honest to goodness, I wasn't looking for a dog. I just wanted to look at dogs. I was like, I wonder if there's any old dogs on here. I wonder if there's any Shih Tzus, which I hate. I have never, and to this day, I don't know if I would or not, because I don't really see the reasoning for it. But the Humane Society partakes in supply and demand, and so when they get small dogs in there, they charge an asinine amount of money. Like for a young, we'll say a Chihuahua. For a younger, we'll say a 2-year-old Chihuahua, $500. Right? When the average adoption fee is $150 for an adult dog. So, I was just flipping through the ads, and then, oh, un momento, por favor. Sorry, I may have to answer the text. My phone. My mom, Sabzi made me a bouquet, and because we didn't meet up today, she's going to give it to me. And so I asked my mom to pick it up because she was going to Shelton. And Sassie's house is like mine, where it's very hard to find it because we both live in very heavily wooded areas. And Rosie's playing with the plastic bottles, so that's what you hear. Okay, so we were talking about the Humane Society Craigslist ad about them being overflooded with animals. So I'm flipping through the pages of animals. There's a lot of animals that I think are cute, but you know, I got my big dog. I had June. I wasn't looking for a dog. I was just curious as to all these animals that they had available that they did not have available when I was looking for a dog when I got June. And I come across this listing for a geriatric Pekingese, possibly Pekingese mix. It was mostly white. And what really stopped me, besides it being a very senior dog, was that the damn dog's name was Chewy. And I thought it was just a sign from the universe that I was meant to go down there and get this dog. You know, I knew he wasn't Chewy. Probably gonna think I'm crazy. I knew he wasn't Chewy. I wasn't expecting to get Chewy 2.0. I took it as a sign from the universe. I'm not religious, you know, so when things, you know, happen in my life where, sorry, honey, bumped the camera. When things happen in my life that are out of my control, or things present themselves in my life, you know, I don't know if there's anything in the great beyond, but you know, it's just a saying that the universe must put, you know, this dog or this person or this object in my path. You know, it's just how I explain that I don't know how to explain. You know what I mean? So, I was like, I have to go down and I have to get this dog. But I was like, they're not going to tell me if he's still there. If I call, they're just going to tell me to come down. Well, Tacoma is over 2 hours away. So, like, I can just, you know, skip on down to see if a dog's there, you know? And so I'm like, I call up my aunt, because my aunt lives in Tacoma, and I was like, can you please go down and see if this dog is at the shelter? And she's like, yeah, I can do that. And so I hang up. I don't hear anything from her for 2 days. Little did I know that as soon as she got off the phone with me, she then calls my mother. And she's like, did you know that your daughter's asking me to go look and see if they have this dog at the shelter? And my mom's like, yeah, I know. She told me about him. And she's like, you're okay with it? And when my mom told me, because my mom did not tell me right away. When my mom told me, I was like, well, that's kind of fucking insulting, you know, because I did have a job this time. I can defend myself with saying that I had a job, and I always pay for the animals, whether I have a job or don't have a job. So animals are never not taken care of. They're, you know, their high quality food or medication does not, you know, go down when I don't have a job. It's just, you know, I'm a saver. I always have money saved. So, I was like, well, that's kind of insulting. She should have just asked me as an adult. Oh, what a memento. Sorry, my mom was still lost. So, I was like, you know, she should ask me, hey, you know, I know you live in your own house. I know you're an adult, but you talk to your mom about getting another dog. You know, that's what she should have done. But who am I to say so? So I was like, well, okay. I didn't find that out till later. Love you too. Thank you. I didn't find that out till after the fact, after we left the Humane Society. But anyways, 2 days pass. Thank you. 2 days pass, and I didn't hear anything from my aunt. So I didn't think she went to the Humane Society. So I was like, it's fine. The Tacoma Humane Society is closed on Mondays. It was Sunday morning when I got home from work. I was like, we've got to go now. Otherwise I'm going to have to wait, until the Humane Society opens back up. And if, it's a senior-year-old dog there, I don't want to leave him there for any longer than he has to be. And so, I was like, do you want to go with me this time, Mom? She's like, yes, I would like to go with you. It's like, okay. Maybe, the prospect of him being a fluffy white little dog named Chewy maybe change her mind a little bit. Because usually she always tells me no. It's like, okay. My mom just sent me a text. These flowers will be dead when I get home. Just tell her you love them. Okay, I'll fire up my flower singing press. Okay, so it's just hilarious. So, we make the drive down to Tacoma. I kid you not, when I pull into the parking lot in Tacoma, I get a text from my aunt saying the dog isn't there. After 2 days. And right when I drive all the way fucking down there, I get a text in the parking lot that the dog isn't there. It's like, well, we're here anyways, let's see if there's any other geriatric dogs that need to be pulled. And so we go in there, and I'm searching through the kennels. I'm really sad because, I really did feel like it was a sign from the universe that, I was gonna have a little boy in my life again, and I obviously wouldn't have kept calling him Chewy, but it felt like it was meant to be. And there's a nest. And so I'm walking through the kennels. There's no little dogs there. There's only big dogs. In our state in particular, which we have an excess amount of pit bulls, German Shepherds, and Siberian Huskies. I have a feeling that's the same for a lot of places around the country. I wish people would stop breeding those dogs. I mean, not that I think the breed is bad. I just think they're a breed for specific types of people, which the majority of people are not, So, Vesper has, I think, 2 Siberian Huskies, or in a Siberian Husky, an Alaskan Malamute, and then a Samoyed. So it's like, oh my god, that's so much hair. And she has a Shiba Inu. So much damn hair. And she has a long cat. They talk about how many animals I have. All her animals have long hair. So, sorry, all their animals have long hair. So, we're walking through the kennels, and in the very back, the last row at the very end, there's Calliope. And she's has her back turned to me. She's sitting down. I snicker at her, and she turns her head and she wags her tail a little bit, but she is trembling so bad, and I feel awful. This dog is obviously a much bigger dog than a Pekingese. And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I'm looking at her chart, and it says not available until such and such date. And it says her name is Lily, that she's 9 years old. She's a lab mix. And I get a hold of one of the shelter staff. They're like, yeah, she has owners, and we're desperately trying to get in contact with them, to which we have not had success. And so, if we can't get in contact with them, within another week, then we'll consider her relinquished and we'll put her up for adoption. And I'm like, oh, okay. And my mom comes by. I was like, look at this one, Mom. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I kind of want to take her. Obviously I couldn't take her then. I was like, I kind of, honey lemon custard. Don't knock into the vacuum. That is excellent backing. I am very impressed with that backing. I can't back up that straight. Okay, and she's like, I was like, I really feel like we need to take her. I might have to extend this to a 5th video. It's like, I feel like we need to take her. And, my mom's like, I don't know. And I was like, do you not know because you can't fit her in the car with the rest of the dogs when you go to your sister's? Or you don't know because she's a big dog? And she's like, a little of both. And I'm like, okay, you're probably right. And we leave. And I might tell the rest of the story in just a regular Wip'n'Chat, because the event will be over. And so, sorry, honey's touching the vacuum. So we get in the car, we go home. For a week, every night when I'm working, I can't stop thinking about this dog. Not because I wanted a big dog or a lab mix, because I'm really not drawn to labs. Just not drawn to Labradors. Or that she had a stunning personality, because I didn't know who she was, because she hadn't been relinquished by default yet. We couldn't take her out and meet her or any of that good stuff. So, I was like, it killed me inside knowing how scared she was, because this stuff, it's so sad, especially with large dogs when they are just uncontrollably shaking. The floor would shake if the floor was not cement. She was just shaking so bad. She was so scared. She wanted to say hi. She gave me a little tail flip, but she was just so scared and depressed. And it reminded me of Brutus. And Brutus was not a subdued dog, but he was so terrified in that kennel. I was like, you can't go under my legs when I'm sitting in the chair. Even though he was a Great Dane mix, the shelter just turned him into a dog that we would very quickly, when we adopted him, find out he was not, this shy, timid dog. He was just a fucking monster for a while, and so, but it took me back to when I had Brutus, and I was like, I can't stop thinking about this dog. I need to go get this dog. And so, I don't know if we were in the car or I went over to her house, but I was like, Mom, I need to talk to you. And she's like, oh, just spit it out. Just spit it out. And she's like, and I'm at 28 minutes already. And I was like, I need to go get that dog. And she's like, I know, but please, for the future's sake, do not ever say I need to talk to you about something ever again unless somebody's dead, because you panic me. And she's like, I knew we were going to get that dog. I knew it. Just don't ever say, come at me like that again, saying you need to talk to me. It's like, okay, well, I didn't know how I was supposed to ask you or, tell you that whether you agreed with it or not, I had to go get this dog because I couldn't stop thinking about her. I didn't know how to tell you that, Okay, so yeah, when her relinquish date, her by default happened, that's when we went down and we got her. But my camera is running out of time, so I guess I'll stop it there. Join me for my next Wip'n'Chat, and I will finish the story about Calliope and how she got her name and what kind of dog she is, because she's pretty awesome. Yeah, thanks for watching if you did, and I'll talk to you later. Adios.